There are a lot of Blender YouTube channels out there, way more than people realize. So I looked around and realized that no one has really made a video on this yet. Definitely for a good reason, because this video has taken me an insane amount of time to research and edit. So instead of people scrolling for hours trying to find a certain channel, I decided that someone had to do it and curate a list of some of the most influential Blender creators on YouTube, plus a few you've probably never heard of, as quickly as possible. I'm not quite sure how long this video is going to end up being, so you need to understand that I will not be listing each and every Blender YouTube channel there is, because that would probably be impossible to make and can take a lot more time to name all of them in detail. I'll try to keep it brief and simple, and hopefully this can become a place you can browse through to find some of the best resources out there that you can take advantage of and start learning Blender today. You can look in the description for links to various creators and content I mentioned in this video. I tried mapping each creator according to their major disciplines, which they focus on in Blender. That way, you have an option to choose what you like and don't like. This list is not perfect, so if you know any creators whom I either left out or forgot, please leave them in the comments so people can find them. Now let's go ahead and start with the first category. This one is a category I like to call the Blender Fundamentalists, a category which covers a few creators who mainly focus on teaching the basics of Blender for complete beginners, from navigating to creating your first project in Blender. So first off is, of course, Andrew Price, aka the Blender Guru, a name we've all heard of or probably run into through his famous Donut tutorial series. Andrew Price is one of the most influential voices in the Blender community, who has been teaching Blender since 2008, focusing on a variety of things from beginner to advanced tutorials, including photorealistic rendering and environment design, with a strong focus on modeling, texturing, lighting, compositing, and a few ArchViz content. With over 3 million subscribers on YouTube, he is one of the best recommendations for anyone taking their first steps in Blender. Next up is CG Fast Track, a channel run by people who clearly know how to structure a learning series for beginners. Their content is usually project-based, cinematic, and designed to actually make you better in Blender. They are famous mainly because of their Fantasy Sword Beginner tutorial series. I mean, it's literally what their whole channel is about at the time of making this video. The last one I would like to recommend is CG Cookie, mainly for their Blender Basics series, which helps you understand what it is you are getting into before creating anything in Blender. Of course, there are a lot more channels I would have included in this category, but I found out that most of their beginner tutorial series were a bit outdated, except for Grant Abbott's Blender 4 for absolute beginners, which is still relevant compared to others from older Blender versions from 5 years ago, unless you are using an older version of Blender 2, which is completely fine. But for this category, I wanted to try and recommend a few with newer tutorials for beginners. Next up is a category for motion design and procedural workflows. In this category, I wanted to cover a range of creators who focus on geometry nodes, procedural shader nodes, abstract animation, motion graphics, and product design animation. Now, one of the most recognizable names in the motion graphics area is Ducky 3D, one of the best resources to get yourself started with geometry nodes, procedural shader nodes, and motion graphics. Now, Artie and Bakasul are great channels if you want to dive into abstract and procedural design animation stuff. And if you truly want to master geometry nodes, I highly recommend you add these channels to your list: Cartesian Caramel, Kamurai, Harry Blends, and MTR Animations. Also, shout out to Blenderin and Left Brain CG Op, really small channels doing a bit of geometry nodes, abstract animation, and procedural stuff. Now, if you are into product animation stuff, then Derek Elliott, Cleverpoly, and Mayfriend should be your go-to to learn this stuff. And lastly, if you are into proceduralism and simulation animation content, check out Erindale, Chris P, Doublegum, Alaskan FX, Simon 3D, 3D School, and Marble Plus. Most of these creators are very small, so please show them your support by checking out their content and subscribing if you would like. Next up is one of my favorite categories, modeling. In this category, I'll cover YouTube channels that focus on isometric 3D style graphics modeling, low poly modeling, and hard surface modeling. Basically everything that involves modeling in general. I wasn't able to find every single channel in this space, but I did find quite a few. Hopefully you'll discover a few creators you probably didn't know about. So if you're into isometric 3D style graphics in Blender, you should definitely check out Polygon Runway, 3D Greenhorn, Twan Oligschlager, Rel 3D, Art by Tran, 3D Not 2D, and Polyflow. These are great channels if you're a design enthusiast and want to learn how to start creating beautiful 3D illustrations in Blender. And if you really want to go pro in the 3D illustration space and have the money to spend, you should definitely check out Polygon Runway's 3D illustration courses on their website. I'll leave an affiliate link in the description if you want to check them out, and if you also want to support the channel at no cost to you. For Lowpoly modeling, shout out to Daisy Day and Janice Journal, who also do a bit of Lowpoly 3D modeling vlog type videos on their channels. You should really check them out and support, especially the girlies watching this video. For other polygonal modeling tutorials, check out EthioCG or Devolo, who focus more on modeling tutorials through YouTube Shorts. But one of my favorites you should check out is Pixelways, along with Blender Bob and Kenny Phases, especially if you want to learn more advanced modeling techniques used in the film industry, which involves the practice of modeling using clean topology workflows in Blender, if that's what you are into. If that's still not enough for you, check out the CG Essentials, Blender Secrets, Nenghuo, Olaf 3D, Christopher 3D, Poly Playground, Riley 3D, and Joyce 3D. Now, if you're into hard surface modeling, I would highly recommend checking out the Blender Bros, Josh Gambrel and Ryu. Two great channels that will get you up and running with all the tools and techniques you need in the hard surface modeling space. Also, check out JL Musi, CG Niti, Burt Kaplan Designer, Thomas Collin 3D, and Rachel Frick. Grant Abbott, whom I've mentioned previously, is an incredible resource, especially for beginners and intermediates wanting to learn modeling and other Blender related topics such as game design, art, sculpting, and animation. Now, if you are into game art, asset creation, environment design, or ArchViz, then these are the channels I would highly recommend for you. You might want to start taking notes on this one. So first up is Grant Abbott. Yes, he's back again. Because when it comes to game asset creation and stylized 3D workflows, Grant Abbott is still one of the best out there. Then we have 3D Tudor, a fantastic channel that focuses on medieval styles and asset creations, stylized props, and game-ready modeling workflows. If you're into castles, swords, or barrels, definitely check him out. CG Bird is another great pick for anyone who wants to create stylized weapons, props, or characters. Then, Infenzia is one of the fastest and most satisfying ways to learn low-poly modeling for game environments and prototypes. If you like time lapses, rapid workflows, and clean designs, you'll enjoy their content. On Mars 3D, Speedchar, LMH Poly, No Poly, and Thomas Potter deserve a shout out here too. Really helpful tutorials focused on game asset creation, clean modeling, and stylized workflows. Super underrated channels. Now moving on to ArchViz, or Architectural Visualization, which is a massive niche in Blender, and it's one of the most professional-facing use cases for the software. If you're into interiors, exteriors, and photorealistic rendering, these are one of the best channels out there. Architecture Topics, Chocofer, Noel 3D, Oliver Higgins, and yes, Blender Guru as well. Outside of the donut tutorials, he's also one of the creators doing a bit of architectural visualizations in Blender, especially interiors. He is also the founder of Polygon, a massive 3D library of high-quality PBR textures, models, and HDRIs built to help you make better renders faster by just downloading or dragging and dropping with their Blender add-on without even leaving Blender. Link in the description if you want to check it out. Now, iMesh 3D Models is more of a 3D library resource as well, but they do have great tutorials on architectural visualization I highly recommend. UH Studio Design Academy gives you deep dives into real architectural workflows. CG Essentials, 8-Bit Project, and Alternavision Studio are other great resources for ArchViz content as well. Definitely check them out. Now, on environment design and scene building content, you should look at cgfocus and Max Hay. cgfocus and Max Hay create insane environment breakdowns. These guys really show how much you can do with just lighting, composition, and a good concept. It's insane. Covingsworth and sketching in Blender are perfect if you're into apocalyptic or horror natural scenes. Basically, top tier environment storytelling, honestly. Pop Nerd, Abrar Ahmed, Jens Dev, Hubert Knobloch, 3D, Pietro Chivaro, MLT Studios, Carl Poiser, Pizza Del Rey, and Meshful Works are other amazing channels you should definitely check out in this category. So that's it for this category. Hopefully this is helping you find your next go-to creator, or at least save you that hours it would have taken to scroll and search for for them yourself. Now, moving into the world of sculpting and animation, let's look at creators you might want to check out, especially if you've ever dreamt of creating 3D characters and possibly even bring them to life with 3D animation. First up is Yan Sculpts, one of my all-time favorites for learning sculpting in Blender. You've probably heard of him or seen some of his work on YouTube. I highly recommend if you haven't yet. Next up is Flipped Normals, Danny Mac 3D, Ksenia Starkova, Flycat, and Keelan John. Great resources for both in-depth sculpting and stylization. Shout out to Masha Bazueva, who focuses on creature sculpting in Blender, a really great channel if you are into that too. Also check out Outgang, Pablo Munoz Gomez, as well as Pixelica CG, Ricardo Bancone, and ElevenLabs, amazing channels for sculpting. Now moving over into animation and rigging, there are a lot of creators worth your time, like Brian Cohey, one of the founders at 2Animate, an animation academy run by professional animators with years of experience working on high-quality TV shows and feature productions like Maya and The Free, a Netflix animated series. It's a great resource if you want to learn advanced animation techniques in Blender. Their courses takes you through every step of animation production, so I highly recommend them. Other great resources that can help you nail animation principles are Into Animation, Southern Shotty, and Pierrick Picot from P2 Design Academy, another great place to learn animation. I've seen people in the comments asking whether to learn from free tutorials or get a course, and I think it's really simple. You can certainly learn a lot from free tutorials, but I think certain people prefer more of a planned, progressive approach, something linear. You can get almost everything you need in one place, and in order with courses, compared to free YouTube tutorials. But it's not only about that. YouTube tutorials are usually isolated topics, but when you purchase a course, it's more detailed and consistent, guiding you each and every step, which I think is kind of an advantage in my own opinion, especially if you really want to learn a certain field or skill. You won't really waste a lot of time moving back and forth from different multiple tutorials just to learn one thing. So I would highly recommend getting courses if you have the money to spend. Now, if you are into animation and cinematography, you should definitely check out Martin Kleckner. He really has incredible content on this, both on his YouTube channel and on CG Boost as well, plus a few great courses on cgboost.com you should definitely check out, like his recent course, Master Cinematic Storytelling in Blender. Highly recommend if you want to truly master the art of cinematic storytelling in Blender or CGI in general. Lastly on this list is Sharpwind and Louis Dumont. Each of these brings something unique to the table, whether it's dynamic camera moves, advanced rigging ideas, or strong visual storytelling. They are amazing resources to take advantage of. Now, if you want to find real inspiration and maybe put all those skills together and start creating your own Blender short films and animations, these are the best creators to find that inspiration from. Number 1, William Landgren, followed by Starsh, CGI Checklist, Dem Nico Art, FX Forge, James Cashrain, and Jeremy Schaefer. They have showcased what I never thought would be achievable in Blender, blending visuals and storytelling in ways you'd swear is only achievable by professionals in big Hollywood studios. There's also John Torres 3D, Julian, Sebastian, Patrick P, Yeeson Cinema, Zertox 3D, Nishan 3D, Animatable, Approximated. I could honestly go on, but trust me, each of these creators has a unique approach, and seeing their work will fire up your own projects. They're always working on cutting-edge projects, pushing the limits, and seeing what Blender is capable of. Now, before I wrap up on this category, I'm really excited to announce Blender Creators, a brand new YouTube channel, and maybe one day a website. So the idea is simple. Blender Creators will be a creative space to appreciate and inspire notable Blender short films and animation projects. If you're a Blender animator or artist and have a short film or animation project you worked on or working on, this would be a great place to get your work showcased. I want this to be a supportive, inspiring little corner on YouTube, a place for artists to discover, cheer on, and be inspired by other artists. I'll make an in-depth video explaining everything about Blender Creators if I find that enough people are actually interested in this little idea. But if it doesn't really work out, I will just shut it down and maybe try again later. So please let me know if it's a good idea and if you would be interested in taking part as well. The submission form is live and working right now, so feel free to submit your work now. Link in the description. Now I want to look at creators that cover 2D animations, grease pencil, NPR, anime style content, shaders, and toon style shaders in Blender. Grease pencil and other 2D style and hybrid workflows are one of the most fascinating yet underrepresented areas in Blender. These tools let you combine 2D drawing with 3D environments, but there aren't nearly enough tutorials covering it. Thankfully, I found a few amazing creators who specialize in these areas. First, Cody Gindi is a fantastic artist who creates stylized Blender scenes with a painterly 2D look. He shares his workflow for achieving this style through tutorial videos that blend 3D animation with a painterly aesthetic, making his channel perfect for artists wanting a stylized, illustrative approach in Blender. Then we have Kazija, a niche channel focused on anime, manga, and painterly stylized looks. The channel delivers both cinematic showcases and how-to breakdowns, teaching how to create beautiful anime-style characters and scenes within Blender. Daniels Gulbis specializes in tutorials that help you achieve an anime-inspired 3D art style. He also shares updates and trailers of his original anime project called Fisherman, providing both technical insights and creative inspiration for blending anime aesthetics with Blender. On the dynamic action side, Dilangu is a professional fight animator who creates energetic, cinematic 3D fight sequences, often parodying popular anime and game characters with unique twists. His work includes an original cyberpunk Catgirl series, leveraging Blender for high-impact animation. Deduz is a self-taught illustrator and animator who heavily uses Blender's grease pencil. His channel is a treasure trove of tutorials, live drawing, and animation techniques, all centered on 2D style animation within the Blender ecosystem. His retro-futuristic style blends 2D and 3D in inventive ways. Team Miracles offers tutorial-driven content combining Blender grease pencil and Krita, focusing on 2D and 3D animation workflows. The channel bridges artistic techniques with practical software skills, featuring indie projects and technical experiments like AR/VR, ideal for those who want to deepen their grease pencil expertise in storytelling and animation. Gaku stands out for elevating grease pencil into a high art tool with a focus on cross-cultural illustration techniques and his custom Blender add-ons like Deep Paint. His work and offerings are perfect for digital artists keen on pushing the boundaries of 3D painting and 2D/3D hybrid art in Blender. Alongside these creators, there are many others contributing to this specialized field, including Isaac, Kevin Ramirez, Supanasu, Lacruzo, Levi Magani, Lightning Boy Studio, Matthias Zamecki, Nogi, Paul Okagegi, Tawan Sunflower, Polypaint, The Goose Tarvin, Tuat555, Kenzio and Y, Micah Buzan Animation, Vertex Arcade, Tutsby Kai, Sketchy Squirrel, Easy Tutorials for Blender 3D, Xneok, 2D Toolbox, Mizuku-kun, Dante, TipTut, Franklin Chinonso, KD Sketch, Eve Sculpt, Paul Holmes, Azra Reyes, Anime XD Channel, Mr. Fork, Facepalm and Dev, Delhi Productions, Trong Doing, Comfy Mug, Tadayoshi CG, Molten Bolt, Bristol the Dean, Active Motion Pictures, Tradigital, JRoss 3D, Ellie Seren, 2AM, and Blenderbox, and many more. Some are still very small channels, but I highly recommend. Many of these creators explore different facets of 2D and hybrid 2D/3D workflows with grease pencil, stylized shaders, toon effects, and anime-inspired content, offering a rich variety of tutorials, process videos, and showcases to inspire your own projects. Now, let's talk about channels that share valuable insights across multiple domains in Blender and other CGI areas in general. These creators include Filmstop, Smeeth, Kaizen Tutorials, Inspiration Tuts, Ask NK, Artin Azanajed, Luis Cherubini, Robin Squares, Stylized Station, Pisco the 3D Guy, and many more. These channels should be your go-to if you want to learn more about Blender, updates, tools, and digital creation information and knowledge, or even see comparisons between different techniques, tools, ideas, or workflows in the industry, including tips and tricks, things like this. Not only do they inform you, but they also help you make decisions on certain things in the digital world of creation. I recommend checking them out and subscribing to them if you need that kind of information. Now, if you're looking for channels to learn a thing or two about visual effects, physics, simulations, photorealism, lighting, and maybe car animations as well, then these are the channels for you. Number 1, ArtVox. ArtVox focuses on photorealism, modeling, realistic scene building, and a bit of object creation for cinematic renders. Number 2 is Chris Jones. I'm not sure if he does tutorials, but he showcases some of the most realistic realistic human body animations, facial movements, and character portraits in Blender. Number 3 is my good friend Extra 3D. He focuses more on photorealism content, sharing tips and tricks on lighting, materials, and realistic details in Blender. A really amazing channel. Next up is Graphical Ninja, followed by Hamza N. Mayo, Kaiwan Shaban, who focuses on realistic lighting and cinematography stuff. And then we have Generalists, a great channel that shares tutorials and breakdowns on photorealistic animations in Blender. One of my favorite tutorials from him is a tutorial called How to Easily Create Realistic Underwater Scenes in Blender. In this tutorial, he talks about essential tricks for simulating realistic underwater visuals inspired by Avatar, The Way of Water. It covers everything from understanding underwater environments using Blender's ocean modifier to emulating water caustics, the bright, dancing patterns of light that appear on surfaces due to the refraction and reflection of light through water, especially when the water surface is uneven or rippled, as well as transparency for photorealistic effects. I highly recommend checking out his content. Scene Filler focuses on lighting, cinematography, realism, and animations in Blender. Ian Huber is famous for his lazy Blender tutorials, where he teaches quick ways to create cinematic CGI and VFX scenes using cool tricks like projection mapping and compositing techniques. For even more in-depth content from him, consider joining his Patreon page, where he shares more detailed and advanced content for those who genuinely want to learn and see how he does it. For more detailed effects, such as fire simulations or compositing tricks to make your renders look cinematic, check out Inlight VFX, Light Architect, Rapho VFX, and Reality X Lights, which are some of the best Blender VFX channels available. Cinematic Cookie, Jasper Pagan, and Iridesium are other great places for photorealism and VFX stuff. Bad Normals is also a great creator sharing proceduralism and simulation content. CG Matter, also known as Default Cube, is an incredible resource if you want to master physics, simulations, proceduralism, and geometry nodes. The Default Cube is basically CG Matter's second channel, but for longer tutorials. Now lastly, I should have included these creators in the animations category, but if you are into car animations, these are some of the channels I found in that area. First up is Damien Matthew, aka Badger. Next up is Daniel Vesterbeck. I really loved his recent animated shortellation. Really fantastic work. On number 3, we have Enhanced Sight, followed by Jinyan 3D, Mediaway, and Wrenchin incredible channels making sick cinematic car animations and tutorials in Blender. With their tutorials and guidance, you can do it too. Now, when I was writing this video, I wanted to explain every channel, to try and answer every possible question I could think of. Every possible question one would ask about a particular channel, such as, who is this channel for? What do they teach? Who are they? Or why should you watch them? However, I realized that the video would be too long and impossible to make, and most of the major creators I found don't really focus on a single niche in Blender. Instead, they are like 3D generalists, focusing on a broad range of skills across the entire 3D production pipeline, from modeling and texturing to lighting, animation, and rendering. A little bit of everything. So these are the channels I will cover in this last category. I'm sure that some of the creators I've already covered can also be part of this category as well, but I won't repeat anyone. I will start with creators you've probably been thinking I had left out, like CG Geek, Royal Skies, Decoded, C. Bailey Film, Pixo 3D, Crossmind Studio, Polyfueled, Ryan King Art, Curtis Holt, Blender Guppy, Dylan Neal, and Gleb Alexandrov. An excellent resource for learning cinematic lighting, color grading, visual effects, and compositing in Blender. Also check out Joey Carlino, Kev Binge, Level Pixel Level, and Peter France, who is famous for his head explosion effect in Blender and his Creating a Spider-Man Scene tutorial series. You would also love Renderides, Top Channel 1-on-1, Tutor 4U, Tuts by Kai, UC Studio, Beyond Blender, and Blender Made Easy. So these are some of the creators exploring almost every aspect of Blender and easing beginners into the community. But this is just the tip of the iceberg compared to the amount of creators on YouTube YouTube. There are a lot more channels, I couldn't mention them all, but shout out to Very Vague, Ajibola, a 3D motion designer, brand designer, as well as a creative director with almost a decade of experience helping authentic brands with product animations for fashion, tech, and furniture, as well as 3D websites and AR, VR immersive experiences. Still, a very small channel, but really amazing content, highly recommend checking out. And also The Bean, a small YouTube channel that is doing really incredible VFX and animation work. Shout out to Craft Reaper, Sherilyn Lima, Aram Art, Yelskizy, Dicko, Sir Wade Neistat, another great channel that focuses on 3D animations in Blender and other 3D software. And lastly, Shutter Authority, Beax, Borissuit, Pantheon 3D, David P. Digital Art, the list goes on. But these are some of the creators I was able to find and are very important and amazing channels to learn Blender today. I hope you found this valuable and you discovered a few creators you hadn't heard of before. And for all the creators I mentioned, please feel free to correct me if I said anything incorrect. Anyways, that's it. Thank you for watching until the end. You guys deserve a medal or a cookie or something. That was a lot and I didn't even mention everyone, so let me know who I missed. I'm sure you're already typing. Like I said, this took me a really long time and lots of hard work to make, so if you enjoyed, please let me know by subscribing. I only have about 6,000 subscribers, which is amazing, but it's really a labor of love for the Blender community, so that's all I ask, to give back that same love. Stay tuned for more content. If you haven't watched my Blender Beginner's Guide, check it out up here. It's a great video, I highly recommend. So that's a wrap, and yeah, ciao.